Greetings. This is Deborah Pratt, aka Ziggy, and you're listening to the Star Bright Project.
Welcome to the Star Bright Project, a Headcast Network podcast about one of the greatest TV shows ever created, Quantum Leap. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Moss. I've been a Quantum Leap fan since 1989. I discovered Quantum Leap through my mother. I was in my room at the time when my mom came in and told me there was a show that I needed to watch since it was about time travel. So I turned on NBC and settled in to watch my first episode. Man, I was hooked. Watched every episode. I rewatched it when it was re-aired on the USA Network and then later on other channels. Joining me is my wife and co-host, Michelle Moss.
Hello. Unlike Mr. TV,
Hey, I resemble that.
I can't say that I had the same experience. I may have seen 2-3 episodes, and what I did see, I thoroughly did enjoy. When I met Aaron, it was one of those moments that surprised him when I told him that I actually knew of the show. Though, I didn't tell him how little I had actually seen. Here it is 14 years later, and now I'm watching each episode in order, one by one, as if it was a new primetime TV show, and I truly am excited. I do hope my inexperience will bring some nostalgia back to some of the old fans as I relive some of the mysteries and ask some questions you may have once asked back when you took your first leap with Sam and the rest of the Star Bright Project crew.
Join us monthly as Michelle and I settle in and watch the entire run of Quantum Leap. I'm the Quantum Leap, expert on the show.
And I'm going to be the one asking a lot of questions, but hopefully helping reignite people's love for the show through a fresh pair of eyes. And we can experience it together on the Star Bright Project podcast.
And welcome back to the Star Bright Project. I am one of your hosts, as usual, Aaron Moss. And as always, joining me is my beautiful wife, Michelle.
Hello, hello, hello.
And again, we're not alone. Once again, as normal, from the jolly land down under.
He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. And he said, I come from a land down under.
We have our friend, Mr. Hayden McQueenie.
Yeah. And I'm giving up the footy to be here, so you better be grateful.
Yes, I am honored that we're more important than footy.
I wouldn't say more important, just
well,
I can do this inside. I don't have to go out in the cold.
Yeah, it's cold there for you. Here it's up in the hundreds, so.
Like 108.
Yeah, so.
That's 42.4 degrees for anyone who's not in the US and uses a unit that makes sense. Well, I mean, let's put it this way. The Celsius scale, 0 represents the temperature water freezes, 100 represents temperature water boils. Seems like a perfectly logical scale to use.
But this is
Whereas
America,
the
so.
Fahrenheit scale is 32 degrees where water freezes and 100 degrees when it's just slightly too hot to go outside because thank you.
But what's funny is in the educational world, they teach us that 100 degrees is boiling and 0 degrees is freezing.
Yeah, that's the Celsius scale or centigrade.
But it's funny that that's what they teach. Like, I wouldn't know what it was in Fahrenheit. I just know it's
exactly.
0 and 100.
Yeah, the Fahrenheit scale makes no sense. I don't even know why they picked.
No clue. Well, that's why, because it makes no sense. This is America. But that's another story entirely. So we are here to talk about episode 13. It's entitled Another Mother. So this was directed by Joseph Scanlon, written by some lady named Deborah Pratt. The leap location and date was Scottsdale, Arizona, September the 30th, 1981. In fact, this may be the closest we've gotten so far to present day. And
I don't think we've had any others in the 1980s yet, have we?
No, I don't think so.
At least not to this point in the series.
Right.
Maybe if we jumped ahead.
That's what I say at this point. Chronologically, or however chronologically you can go for a time travel show, this originally aired 9 years later, January the 10th of 1990. So the synopsis for this episode, I stole this from Wikipedia. Sam is Linda Bruckner, played by Molly Meeker, a divorced mother juggling raising 3 children and her job as a realtor. Sam must save her 15-year-old son, Kevin, played by Michael Stoyanov, or something like that, who will disappear in the next 24...
Stoyanov.
Stoyanov, I knew I didn't say it right, who will disappear in the next 24 hours, only his bloody clothing found months later. Matters are initially complicated when Al and Sam are visible to the preschool child, Teresa, played by Troyan Belisario, but she and Al become friends. Kevin is sweet on fellow student Jackie Arnett, played by Allison Barron, who is willingly treated as a strumpet by the other male students. When three of the others convince Jackie to embarrass Kevin with a feigned sexual encounter, he runs off into the night, only to be kidnapped by two perverts in a van. Sounds like a new series on Fox. Two perverts in a van. Al guides Sam to the van.
You mean when you and Dean were driving your van?
This may be from life experiences, possibly. No, yeah, I wasn't going to mention that, but thank you for bringing that out.
It didn't have free candy written on the side, did it?
It was written on a piece of cardboard on the side. Does that count? And we did troll by the junior high school. Never mind. Anyways.
That's gross.
Somehow I think this might end up on the cutting room floor.
You never know with me.
I hope so.
Al guides Sam to the van, where he discovers that he is trained in numerous martial arts, dispatching the killers. At school the next day, Jackie apologizes to Kevin and asks him out. In this episode, Sam learns that before he began to leap, he was trained in various martial arts, including but not limited to karate, judo, and Muay Thai. And for more on this episode, check out the novel Angels Unaware by L. Elizabeth Storm.
Elizabeth Storm had the best novels. She had two. There was Angels Unaware, like you said, and also Pulitzer. You'll remember, Michelle, we just did the unofficial better trilogy, just to try and catch you up a little bit. And yeah, Pulitzer essentially serves as The Leap Home Part 3, or MIA Part 4, whichever you prefer.
And both books that she wrote were follow-ups to episodes, where a lot of the other books were just their own story. Both her books actually were follow-ups to actual episodes, which is kind of nice.
I wish they'd done that more.
Yeah.
There was a comic book as well, which was a follow-up to an episode as well, and that's my favorite of the comic books. So, yeah, I wish they would have done it more.
Oh, yeah. So, Michelle, since you're a mother and this is the first time seeing this episode, what'd you think? Did you like this episode?
I'm exhausted.
Just from watching it.
No, honestly, as soon as it started and the music's playing and the kids are arguing and
Mommy, my darling!
Yeah. Oh, God. I have to say though, before we get started, I was so excited that their dog was named Wookie because we have a dog named Wicket, so that was phenomenal. But before we get started, I have to say that Troyan is absolutely the cutest little thing ever. I'm sure Sam and Al, or I should say Scott and Dean, had a blast working with her. You could tell that just by the chemistry on the set that they already had a relationship with the little girl, and that you could tell it was a very loving relationship. So I wanted to just get that out there right away because that was really cool. I will say that this is where you really get beat in the head with the whole kids can see them, and then they explain 4 years old and all of that stuff.
5 years old. 5 years old,
sorry. That's where they explain the 5-year-old thing and how kids can actually see them because they're pure of heart and whatnot. So that was neat too. But yeah, I mean...
This is a good case of real life writes the script though, because I think that they realised that having a little kid around, they're not going to be able to pretend that Dean Stockwell's not there.
Yeah.
Although, the explanation they came up with does make a lot of sense. I remember an episode of Ghost Whisperer where, I know you don't like it, but too bad I do. It's great to look at. You can watch it on mute if you want to. It's even better on mute.
I have. I mean...
In the bathroom.
But yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt, whatever her character's name was, she explains that the reason that a lot of children have imaginary friends is because they're seeing ghosts. And again, it's because of their purity of heart being in this alpha state, being able to see the truth. So, yeah. So what did you think of the episode, Michelle?
Or space. No, I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. I found some things that I didn't care for. For instance, if Sam is going to be an effing woman, then he needs to wear an effing bra.
Why? Sam doesn't have tits.
I don't care. That's part of being a woman. It's so uncomfortable that he needs to wear a bra. I'm sorry, but when the bad guys ripped open her shirt, her shirt, whatever, and his hairy chest was out in the open, I'm like, it should have a bra. He needed to have a bra. I know the mom wore a bra because she's a mom, and moms have to wear bras, especially after like.
No, they don't. I think the vast majority of mums don't bother because they're so damn busy and tired.
Oh no, we wear bras because after babies sucking on your boobs, your boobs kind of start to sag. So you wear a bra for that reason.
Besides, you shoot out showing houses.
So
that
you're not up to the stage where you don't care anymore. I guarantee it's coming soon.
I don't know. But it's just, I was like, dude, he's not wearing a bra. That's not cool. Like, I was actually kind of like offended. I was like, if you're going to be wearing women's stuff, wear women's stuff. So that was like a critique I had.
Well, see, though, in Sam's defense,
what?
He just didn't want to. He didn't need to.
I don't care.
Because he's done it before, and he realized what a pain in the butt they are.
Good.
So this time, he's like, you know what? I don't actually have anything there to hold up that needs to be held up. I'm not going to bother with it.
Believe me, he had more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh, well, yeah, we haven't watched the Beauty Queen episode yet, so no. I guarantee you'll be seeing him in plenty of stuff he doesn't want to be in that one.
I will say he handled the kids really well. I liked when he turned the music off and then yelled, "Knock it off!" Oh my gosh, that was like such a mom thing, you know.
What I like is he did that. He's thinking, you know, my mom had, the three of us, and she was able to handle things, delicately and and knock it off.
Yeah.
It's not stupid if it works.
No, this is true.
That's what I always say. So, Michelle, what are some of your favorite things that only a mum would like? Do you tell Grayson that the ice cream man puts the music on to say that there's no ice cream left, or stuff
that's
like that?
Evil. No, I don't know. I think I told you this last episode, but since you asked, we can keep this one in this one if we want. But I once told him that unicorns were real, and went on Google and showed him like an actual altered photo of a horse that had a unicorn horn, and it looked really real. And he went to school and kids were berating him because he was saying that he believed that there was unicorns.
Hayden shaking his head.
So he came home and he's like, "Mom, are unicorns really real? People at school are saying they're not." And I felt bad. So I was like, "No, they're not." And he's like, "How dare you?"
Well, in a couple of years, you'll have the same argument about Santa. And a few more years after that, you'll have the same argument about Jesus.
He I think is going to be the one that's hurt over the Santa thing out of both kids. Like Alexis was just like, "Oh yeah, I kind of figured that out, Mom. No big deal. You slipped up a couple of times and, but she wanted to believe, but she was just like, nah, this, I'm fine with it. It's like, no big deal." She's like, "Now I'm in on it and I can help you with my brother's stuff." That was good for her.
Until I take Grayson camping and bash Santa Claus in the head.
No, you're not allowed. I was like, "Nope, not until I'm ready. Are you ready?" So
just wait until Sam leaps into Santa.
No. Why? So Dean can have his ho-ho-hos?
That's a good one. I'll give you that one. Look, I'm sure that Sam left Al his naughty list because Santa knows where all the bad girls.
This is true.
And Michelle, we know Tarina is at the very top of the list.
Why, yes, she is.
No, it's why, yes, she is.
No, it's I'm on the naughty list.
Oh, you are the naughty list.
Stuff my stuff.
Yeah. Come have some of my cookies. I can't even do that with a straight face.
Hayden, where'd you go, Hayden?
Sorry, I just need to change my jokes.
I enjoyed the episode. To me, this wasn't like the greatest or the worst, or it was just kind of filler for me. I think I wanted to see Sam do some more mom juggling stuff. That to me would have been more comical. I would have liked to have seen, him handle all these different things that moms do on a daily basis. I mean, he kind of touched on them a little bit, but I know that wasn't the premise of the show. The Creeper McCreeper van. Holy shit. Like, so, I do have a story for you. So get a load of this. There was this van, and I'll have to send you a picture, parked next door to our house. And when I say that this van was the creepiest looking van, it was all rusted. It like had some barbecue name on the side, but looked like it had been used and abused. It was the most creepy looking van, and it was sitting in front of our neighbor's yard, and it was there for like a day or two. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I posted it on Facebook, and my friends were like, oh my God, you should call the cops. That's a creepy van. Like, that's how bad it was. So our neighbor, her son, I went to high school with him, and he is Alexis's band teacher and was her band teacher in 8th grade. So at the end of the school year, we were in the band room, you know, thanking him for everything that he does. And, you know, he's an amazing, amazing band teacher. And I pulled out my phone. I'm like, I have to ask you, who is this parked out in your mother's yard? He goes, oh, that's my husband's van. It's for like a Mad Max cosplay thing that they do. And I mean, that's how creepy this van was. And he starts busting up laughing when I show him the picture. He's like, yeah, it's my husband's van. I'm like, dude, do you know how many people wanted me to call the cops on that van? Like, it was horrible. And it was just funny. He died laughing. He was like, I'm going to have to tell my husband that, you know, you were taking pictures of his van and like saying that it's a creeper van. I'm like, dude, it is a creeper van. He's like, that's the point. I'm like, no. So
that's hilarious.
So yeah, the creeper van. I liked how Sam was like, hey, can you lock on to the kid and be in the van with them? It just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And then I liked when Owl's like, you even touch him and I'm gonna kick your ass.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna kill you.
And he was so like, the acting on that was like really good at that moment. I was like, dude, you go for it, dude.
Look, I'm sure Al would get in the accelerator and leap into the kid and, you know, smash his head in. That'd be good. I could live with that.
Yeah.
I have no problems with it. Yeah, no, that was a very nice scene where he's like, go ahead and can you center yourself on Kevin? He's like, well, I can't do anything. Why? He's like, I'll know you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the first time that they actually did use Al as like someone to go and explore away from Sam and keep track of things, isn't it?
No, because that one episode, like with Deborah Pratt in the white, doesn't he go and do stuff there?
Maybe. I think this is the first time he's more used as a scout, though, like to Sam Spade Kevin to try and find out, you know, what's going on in his life.
I will say that they finally used Ziggy, and Ziggy actually came through or whatever for them keep coordinates and locked, like it finally worked or something, you know? So that was interesting.
Deborah just decided, all right, it's time that Ziggy's, you know, had an upgrade. She's working fine at the moment. You may as well use her for keeping track of what's going on here.
The one thing I wonder is how does Ziggy know when that black kid gets laid?
That's what I was wondering too. Actually, I asked Deborah that, and she just laughed and said, "You never know what Ziggy knows." So,
you're still a virgin. You're gonna be a virgin.
Yeah, perhaps he caught an STI and had to go and see the doctor, and maybe there's medical records of it. Perhaps he wrote a diary or something.
Maybe he posted on MySpace.
Found. Yeah, a blog or something. I just had sex.
Oh God.
I just had sex.
I showed Alexis the Lonely Island songs, and she was just like, oh my God, Mom, these are awful, but these are funny. Showed her the box one. She's like, oh my God. I'm a horrible parent.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm just saying that it's not impossible that Ziggy would be able to find that out, but you are right. It's very difficult for Ziggy to know that. He would have to have stuffed up big time, I think.
But yeah, and I had to go back and check, but this is the first time we got the Saga Cell.
The what?
Yes.
The opening credits. They had this time they had a guy doing it.
Right.
But
I noticed that.
Because usually before this, and again, it's hard to tell because we watched episodes out of order.
Yeah.
But if we were watching them chronologically release order, up until this point, Sam's been doing the opening narration.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's been doing a recap of what happened on the previous list.
He recaps the previous episode, and, he kind of, leaping through time, this happens, and da-da-da, and I find this, and da-da-da. And,
Right.
But
Why did they change it?
Okay, I did ask Deborah this, so I do know the answer. It was so that they would more easily be able to switch them around and play rerun. Like, I don't know if you remember when you watched Animal Frat, the recap that Sam had done at the start of that wasn't from the episode before, which was Portrait of a Troyan. It was actually from Kamikaze Kid. And that's because the first time that they ran these episodes, A Portrait for Troyan leapt to Kamikaze Kid because they were going to play a repeat of it. And then the next week go into Animal Frat. So because it had been played in that order, they did a recap of Animal Frat. But when you're watching them on the DVDs or on the streaming or something like that, it makes no sense as to why they would recap Kamikaze Kid when that happened, a season. Yeah?
Right.
So the reason is because they were getting into strife when they decided they were going to play a repeat, and they decided that having this generic saga cell helped be able to them around and play them out of order. It would also help in production as well, I think, because they don't necessarily know which episode is going to come, like what the episode order is going to be anyway. They'll just pick and choose after it's all done. So that would be another reason too.
And I was wondering, because I looked in the book, and apparently the guy that did the narration of this was Lance Legault, who last appeared in Michelle's favorite episode, How the Test Was Won.
Yeah, he was Wayne in that, wasn't he?
I think so.
I don't care who he was.
I didn't go back and look. I didn't think to go back and look until just now.
Yeah.
Fire.
It's actually kind of funny. Obviously, Lance does the narration of the saga cell in this one.
He's a stay doing
The next episode is going to be Deborah Pratt, and after that, it's going to be Deborah Pratt doing it. So we joke that this is the point where Ziggy changes from a he to a she.
So we'll have to watch and see how they refer, when they refer to him again.
And also on the subject of the saga cell, there's a lot of this going around for some reason. I don't know why, but for some reason, I've actually got stuff to talk about. Someone asked on one of the fandom pages, some leap, why did Sam get into the accelerator before it was ready? And I'm like, they said it in the saga cell, pressured to prove his theories or lose funding. And he's like, what are you talking about? And it just says theorizing the one can time travel within his own lifetime. Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. But yeah, I'm like, you have to watch the season 2 saga cell, which was a little bit longer. And I didn't know this, but apparently in some syndicated versions of the episodes, they completely cut out this version, the shorter one from season 3. So a lot of people actually haven't seen this particular saga.
And see, I don't remember seeing the building that they show.
Yeah, apparently that's from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was looking real quick, and Lance in How the Test Was Won played Chance. The old man.
Oh, okay.
Tess's dad, so he's the one that did the opening narration this episode.
And the opening shots of Another Mother, when it shows the title and the date,
right?
That's from Poltergeist.
Oh, okay.
Exactly the same image from that. So they must just like reusing a whole lot of old stock footage that they've got.
They've got it. Money. Might as well, yeah. And I know the Kevin in this, played by Michael, whatever. I know him most from Blossom. He played Blossom's older brother. Mm-hmm. And then, as we talked about on our special, which by the time this comes out was a couple of months ago. What's her name? I forget the girl's name now.
Olivia Burnett.
I was trying to think of the character's name. Susan.
Susan.
Susan, yeah. She's played by her. She later on next season, she plays Sam's younger sister.
And funnily enough, the character Susan. Now, are they Bruckner in this one? I think so. Bruckner or Bruckner, something like that. Susan is named after Deborah Pratt's friend Buckner or Buckner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who is? She was in Grease as the really nerdy, enthusiastic girl.
Oh, okay.
And also she was in the Brady Bunch Variety Hour as one of the dancers.
Okay, yeah. And also the gal that plays Jackie Arnett, her name's Allison Barron. Her younger sister is Dana Barron, who is in the first National Lampoon's Vacation movie.
Awesome.
Is Audrey.
Which we have an episode of Quantum Leap, which is loosely based on National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah, but yeah, I was
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, I was wondering who she was, and I was looking it up, and I saw something. Dana Barron. That name sounds familiar, so I had to go look and see. Oh, Audrey. Okay, the original Audrey. Okay, so I thought that was kind of interesting, and yeah, again, I love National Lampoon's Vacation, so I like I say, we have, her sister in this, and then later on we're going to get an episode of Quantum Vacation or whatever.
By the way, Michelle, it sucks. Not my favorite.
Oh, if I'd say it sucks, but it's not the best. But,
it's not as bad as Thou Shalt Not, though.
or How the Test Was Won.
There's very little that's that bad.
So, yeah. I know Michelle said this wasn't one of her favorites. What do you think about this episode?
Oh, I enjoy it. It's one I'll go back to.
Is it in your top 20?
No. Oh, no. It's probably in the top half. It's one that I actually will go back to and watch on occasion. Yeah, it's okay. There's not, like you said, it's nothing really special. But yeah, I do like the dynamic between Al and Teresa, and just the fact that he's interacting with someone besides Sam. That's really, really nice to see for once. No pizza for you.
I like that. You want pizza? What you want? Go get dinner? Pizza. No pizza for you. I like that.
That was a good one. I like the message that Deborah, overall wanted to get across, that there's no right or wrong time to have sex. It should just be when you're ready and your partner's ready and consensual, and when it feels natural and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I do like when they were talking, and Kevin's like, "Well, I'm almost 16. I haven't had sex yet," and Sam's like, "Well, I was a virgin at 16," and he's like, "Well, you're a girl. You're supposed to." I'm like, then who are you having sex with if the girls your age are supposed to be virgins? Who are you having the sex with?
Yeah. I don't think that, cougars and MILFs and all that sort of stuff was around quite as much back then.
But I thought that was funny. Like, you're a girl. You're supposed to be a virgin. Wait, I'm like, did you think about how that sounds, kid? And I don't blame the writing for that. I blame that on people, because that's the way people think. Guys are supposed to lose their virginity early, and girls are supposed to keep it until they're married. Yeah. Who are the boys supposed to be losing their virginity to then? Each other? I don't quite understand.
Yeah, but there is obviously a lot of pressure with that toxic masculinity. To try and get as many conquests as possible as early as possible. Yeah. You're right. The double standards make absolutely no sense. I'm pretty liberal in that sort of idea. I mean, as long as people are consenting and it's legal and no one's being hurt or anything, then have your fun, be safe. But I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything, but nature will take its course. You just need to teach people the right way of going about it.
As a father of a 14-year-old daughter, I say you have to wait until have sex till you're 35.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah, and this is probably something you will not want to hear about. Yeah, but look, that's important though. The lines of communication need to be open. They need to know they can go to their parents for, for help and for information and stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't know where they're going to get it from.
Yeah. But like Kevin didn't want to talk to his mom about girls and things like that, but he's willing to go to his younger sister about it.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
While she was watching Magnum PI.
Well, his friends at least make sense, but
yeah, I like that one guy that they're friends with, the more mature one of the group. They're like, come on, guys, and he gets them and leaves when they're trying to get him to go out with Jackie, and they're doing the whole nights thing, and the other guy's like, whatever, guy, he gets up and leave, and then at the end, when the guys are like, what the heck? The jester guy, he got kissed. Oh, he's gonna rank up and da-da-da. And how can that happen? Their friend's like, you guys don't have much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah. It's funny. They couldn't use the term Dungeons and Dragons because of copyright issues. They had to change it to Demons and Dragons.
Yes, I have notes on that.
Yeah. And it is funny. It is funny in a lot of media seeing all these tiny little changes just so that it's only just legal. Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Well, I remember back when I first watched this in here, what they called it. I'm like, it's Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Wait a minute. I don't remember Dungeons and Dragons being like that.
I just find it funny how any of them who play Dungeons and Dragons expect to ever get laid.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't remember. I never got laid playing Dungeons and Dragons. I wasn't doing it right. That seems a surefire way to chase the girls off.
Yeah. I wonder, did this episode come out significantly later than the one beforehand? When was it originally aired? So Animal Frat was January 3rd, 1990. Oh, no, this was January 10th, 1990.
Yeah, I don't think it was
The
much
reason I
after.
ask is because there seems to be a lot of changes going on, obviously Saga Cell, but they were experimenting with a few things as well, like when Al was centering himself on different places, he'd have a sparkle with
Yeah,
him.
I noticed
A
that.
sparkly effect, yeah.
I think that's the only time they do that.
Yeah, so it makes me wonder, were they just experimenting with a few different things after having a little break? But it doesn't look like they had much of a break.
There was a break between Animal Frat and the one before that.
Maybe that's, yeah, because they would have been in production for quite some time.
Yeah, like I say, there was the one before Animal Frats. Was that the Portrait of Troyan?
That was a Portrait of Troyan, yeah.
And then they had the winter break for Christmas holidays, and then they had Animal Frat, and then this one.
It's funny, in this episode we find out that Magnum P.I. is a television show in the Quantum Leap universe,
Yep.
but also is a part of the Quantum Leap universe in reality as well, because Sam's sister, who ironically is played by Olivia Burnett, who has a crush on Magnum, is married to one of the characters in Magnum P.I. Who's in Hawaii there. And also, there was going to be an episode where Sam leapt into Magnum.
Oh.
There's a short video of Sam actually leaping in and him looking at Tom Selleck's reflection in the mirror. We didn't get that, unfortunately, but it's just kind of funny that in Quantum Leap, it's part of the real universe, but also a fictional universe too.
Huh.
So maybe in the Quantum Leap universe, Magnum P.I. is a documentary about stuff that really happened.
I wonder if maybe they were originally going to have it as part of the universe, and then something happened, they changed their mind, and that's why they decided to make it just a TV show.
Well,
maybe.
the episode where he's going to leap into Magnum is supposed to be the start of season 5 instead of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Huh.
So that was actually going to be much later than this.
Yeah. Huh. That blows that out of the water. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. But it's just funny seeing these little problems in the universe they've created.
Yeah, because I forget.
Little, glitches in the Matrix.
Yeah, I forget about his sister marrying someone from Magnum P.I.'s universe. But I remember
it's only really said in a voiceover by Sam in Genesis, so it's very easily forgotten.
Right. But I remember this episode with Magnum P.I. actually being a TV show. Because I remember I found out later that Donald did both shows. So
makes sense why he would have the rights to put it on.
Definitely.
The music was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the song that they play at the very end when Jackie kisses Kevin in front of everyone, and they play He's So Shy by the Pointer Sisters. But yeah, I like just about all the music that was played in this one. Call Me by Blondie. Al singing Inchworm to Teresa was gorgeous. What else?
Yeah, it looks like they replaced a lot of the songs in this.
Yeah, just about
For
all of it
DVD,
except
Inchworm.
obviously for Dean Stockwell singing. Yeah.
And the car Shake It Up, it looks like they kept that one in there.
It all just depended, obviously, on what they were able to get the rights for.
But again, that was on the DVD. The Blu-ray, they've got the actual songs in there, which again is
I also thought it was kind of funny that, Ziggy explains to Sam and Al that Teresa can see them because she only ever sees the truth. And Al says, well, I guess we're going to have to tell her the truth. Are you angels? Yes.
What I like, Sam was kind of questioning. He's like, the truth? Well, and,
It reminds me of Lionel Hutz. There's a truth. And the truth.
And well, actually, you know what, though? From a certain point of view, to borrow from Star Wars.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
They may be angels. Because if they are set by God, time, fate, whatever, if we take just the God essence of that, and they're being sent by God, they could be conceivably considered angels. So a certain way of looking at it, it sort of was the truth. So, but no, I do like that. Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm Angel Al. This is Angel Sam.
Yeah, but all right, he can read your book, but you got to turn the pages.
You got to hold the book. You got to turn the pages for him. Fixing dolls is Angel Sam's area of expertise.
He's the doll elf.
Yeah, I love that he called him a doll elf. My God. Angels, elves, something. Al's not quite sure. But I do like Al's friendship with Teresa. I mean, he was very fatherly to her, and I mean, he was able to sing the songs. He read the stories to her. So I do like that aspect, because usually from Al we get the lecherous, look at the pom-poms on that girl. So this was a nice change to see Al actually have that fatherly side.
It's a bit disappointing that in the show, it's all right, I won't say it.
Spoilers.
I don't want to ruin too much for Michelle, but I actually had, when we were discussing how the season 6 of Quantum Leap, which is going to come out, could have happened when they did decide they were going to, my suggestion was to have Teresa, played again by Troian Bellisario, as the Leap, because she has the connection to the show. Obviously, she's the daughter of the 2 creators. Is available because Pretty Little Lies isn't going on anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, that would have been nice to see, but
since we've heard what they're doing, I would have preferred to have Sammy Jo be heavily involved in it, but
yeah, she's miles too old. The character, she'd be in her 60s easily.
Well, maybe not leaping, but I'd like to see Sammy Jo involved with the project somehow.
Yeah, so have Troian as the leaper because she'd be about the right age, and have Sammy Jo be the observer because she'd be about Dean's age or Al's age. So it'd be a pretty good, similar relationship.
Yeah, because Teresa would be in her 40s or 50s.
Yeah, what year was this? 1981.
Yeah.
If she's 5, add 40 years to that. So she'd be 45. She might be getting a bit old, but they do retroactively de-age people or age them as needed. So.
Yeah, but even in 45 is not that old. I mean...
Yeah, and she would need a certain amount of life experience as well. That's why, Scott Bakula worked so well in the role. He's not old, but he's got the life experience for you to believe that he is a doctor who has all these amazing and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and help Sam was a little younger than when he first slept, but then again, Sam was also a genius, which also helped out, I think. So if you're not a genius like Sam, I personally wouldn't have a problem with a 45-year-old woman, leaping. Because like you said, we give her enough time to get enough life experience to fall back on. And since she's not, she's physically there, but she's not physically there. I don't think 45 is too old to be a hindrance.
I agree with you. But that was just my little headcanon, which I would have liked. Apparently, it was very popular, my theory. Got a lot of likes, people saying they would like to see it and adding stuff to it and things like that. So
no, that was a great idea. I like that personally.
Yeah, but that was just my favourite idea there, and I'm glad that I came up with it.
What I do like when Sam caught up to the kidnappers, they pull over and the driver's looking in his rearview mirror and sees Molly in the mirror getting out of the car. So he sees this woman getting out of the car and he's like, oh, we got this. And then Sam unlooses judo and what was it, karate and Muay Thai, whatever, and just kicks the crap out.
Taekwondo, all of that, yeah.
Yeah, the guy pulls a knife out and he's like, watch out, that knife may be sharp. You think, Al? Made me chuckle. Watch out, he's got a knife. It may be sharp. You think?
Yeah, but I also like how Sam's like, how can I get past them? How am I going to, get, what's his name, Kevin, out of there? Right. And I was like, oh, don't worry, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, karate, you can fight your way through there. But it does kind of retrospectively explain how in The Right Hand of God he was able to train up for a boxing match in 3 days.
Because he already
had a lot of fighting experience,
Already had the experience.
Not in boxing, but I suppose this would be pretty transferable.
Yeah, I agree. So I do, even though they don't mention The Right Hand of God in this, it is kind of a reference back to it because, like you said, it kind of retroactively explains why Sam was able to get so good as he was in such a short period of time because he's a scientist. What's he know about fighting? Well, we found out that he's got, this experience in like 3 or 4 different art forms of fighting. So yeah, like I say, it's pretty transferable to boxing, I would think.
As well. Also, I think maybe the only misstep of the episode is to do with the creepy McCreep faces in it. My understanding, which is very minimal, but my understanding is that people like that tend to have a sort of type that they go after, but you see them, stalking really little kids. You see them stalking older people. You see them stalking the teenager like Kevin. It just seemed a bit odd that they would just do anything that they could whenever they could. I mean, I know they are opportunists, but it does seem a bit odd that, they don't seem to have a particular type.
And for the most part, they supposedly they do have I don't know anyone experienced personally, but they tend to have a type, but there are some that, as you said, are just, whatever the opportunity presents itself. Because as they grabbed Sam thinking he was a woman, that one that came at him had kind of a very lecherous look on his face, like, I'm going to enjoy this one.
And the other thing, too, is this is, one of the few episodes where we don't find out what happens to the bad guys.
Right.
It seems pretty clear from the context that they're going to go to jail for a very, very long time. But, it would have just been nice maybe the next morning having something on the TV or a newspaper explaining that they'd been caught and sentenced. Well, not sentenced, but caught and arrested and all this stuff.
Or this could have been a point where
Deborah said when we spoke to her that, yes, they definitely got sent away for a long time. But, yeah, it just would have been nice to see. That, I think, is really the only misstep in the episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, yeah, it's a very, very good episode. Not my favourite, but definitely one well worth watching and going back to.
Well, they could have gave Al a line of dialogue saying, the police showed up and arrested those two guys, and they're going to be going to jail for the next. Well, they're still in jail right now. I think that would have been a little better.
Because I tell you what, it was. I was like, well, but they're just going to go kidnap the next set of kids. At least slash their tires.
Yeah, I think they left a little too
Slash
vague.
them.
What's that?
Slash them.
Oh,
not just the tires.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
There was a knife right there.
It could be sharp.
Yeah, it could be sharp.
Yeah, I agree. That was really the only messed up is that they left it rather vague as to what happened. Because just watching it, you don't know if the police ever showed up or if they were still there.
And they were at first looking at a set of kids in the school.
And Deborah too said, if you watch the credits, you'll notice they go a very, very long time. Because they were running a bit short on footage they were going to put in. Why not just put that few extra seconds in there, explain what happened?
Yeah.
Fill up a little bit of the credits time. But maybe she just couldn't think of a good way to show it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's easy for us to sit here 30 years later and say, we should have done this.
Yeah. That's our job.
But
that's what we do.
Yes.
Homer, it's very easy to criticize. Thank you.
You do that too well. But this is, I don't know if it's probably maybe in my top 20, maybe. It's hard to say because I said there's so many good episodes of Quantum Leap, but this is one it's definitely in the top half, like you were saying.
Top half for me as well.
Because, this is one, when I knew we were going to watch. So I'm like, I'm excited to watch this one. This is a good episode. I think, I enjoy, like I say, I think one thing that really makes it stick out is, like I said, the interaction between Troy and Dean.
Well, anything that kids me out. This one, I don't know, Aaron.
Back in 1976, there was a bus kidnapping in Chowchilla,
California.
And it was during summer, Chowchilla, California. It was during summer school, and it was like out in the country, and I rode the same bus with my cousin every single day. 3 girls that lived next door to me, they kept, ride our bus, Aaron, ride one. I'm riding with my cousin, right? We happen to be on different buses. I'm like, I'm riding with my cousin. I love to, go with the girls, but I'm hanging out with my cousin. That one afternoon, I don't know what it was, but I decided to ride with the girls after all that afternoon. And on the way home, the bus was kidnapped. And 2 brothers and their friend, rich kids, took it up north, back an hour or so north of Chowchilla, and their fathers owned a quarry or something like that, and they had a van buried under the ground. They put the kids and the bus driver in the van and covered it up, and the bus driver and the kids were able to dig their way out and got the freedom. But
far out.
But that's the thing that Chowchilla is famous for: the bus kidnapping and palm trees down Main Street.
But what's crazy is that it really ruined a lot of people's lives because it really messed with their heads. And
my cousin had problems with drugs,
PTSD, and stuff like that. And
this one girl I've been friends with since kindergarten, if not further than that. We grew up together. We've been friends for, since then. And I know she's had problems growing up. She wouldn't go into a van after that. And a lot of kids had a lot of serious issues because of that. So,
well, you were very lucky to not be on it.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people, okay, look how screwed up I am now. Just imagine if I had that extra trauma built in, how screwed up I would be.
Well,
but
this is why you have to pass your classes during the school year. So you don't have to go to summer school.
And this way, it wasn't a failing thing. It was just something to get some extra, get us out of the house. And,
I see.
Yeah, it wasn't
extra credits and.
Yeah, I was in kindergarten or first grade somewhere.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, so it wasn't summer school in the way of I failed math, so I had to go to summer school. It was school so my mom could send me out of the house for a couple hours a day to get her out of her hair, and
I see.
So she could bake my cake.
So she made me a cake when I got home, and but yeah.
Alexis yells out pie.
Yeah, it was known like across the country. People knew about it. So I know we had people, family members back east in like Nebraska, which is like halfway across the country, calling. Was Aaron on that? Is Aaron on? No, Aaron wasn't on that bus.
It made national news. I mean, it was a pretty huge thing, and they've had documentaries and movies, and
they've had books on it, and had a TV movie with a guy from Streets of San Francisco, Carl Malden, playing the bus driver.
But I don't know. That's what this episode kind of brought to the forefront of my mind, and I'm like, and then the next day she's like, "Okay, you can go to school now," and I'm like. Oh, hell no. My kid would not be leaving my side because...
Well, none of them, really. You'd be
I would
keeping them all under your sight for as long as you can.
Yeah, like whenever there's like a school shooting or something, like the next day I'm like, I don't want to send my kids to school right now. Like I feel, uneasy or whatever. I'll stay in the campus area for a little bit, maybe say a prayer or something, because I'm just like, it just makes me feel a little bit better. But no, I that bothered me that she was just like, okay, you can go back to school now. And like for him, the trauma, he just went through that shit, and now he's got to go to school and deal with the bully area aspect of it. No. And then they're standing there making out in the middle of the cafeteria. They're cheering him on, and no teacher's like, excuse me.
It was the 80s. It was a different time. Leave him alone. I remember in my school.
Do you want to hear a pickup line that only works in America?
What?
Damn, girl, you at school? Because I'd love to shoot kids up in you.
Oh. You killed my husband.
I like that one.
Or another good one that was floating around was, damn, girl, you Harambe's cage? Because I'd love to drop a kid in you.
What?
A story from, 5 or so years ago where an idiot dropped their kid in the cage of a gorilla, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gorilla's name was Harambe, and they had to kill the gorilla so they got the kid out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when the kidnappers or whatever you want to call them were at the beginning when they were watching the kids get off the bus, that country area looking, I very much thought of Chow Chow also at the time in the bus kidnapping and all that.
Did they find out why they kidnapped the bus?
Board?
Was that it?
Yeah.
They weren't trying to get a ransom or anything.
Well, they were going to try to ransom, but I mean they had money. Like I said, they came from rich families. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was just they were sitting around talking. They decided to try it out, and
they went to jail for a very long time.
Yeah, they just now, I think one or two of them just got out the last couple of years. I think one's still in jail, in fact.
Well, I was going to say we should make it a project of ours to watch a Dean Stockwell movie called Compulsion. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think I have, no.
Have you, Michelle? All right, it's a really great movie. It actually started out as a play, and Dean Stockwell played the same role in the play. And it's actually loosely based on the Leopold and Lowe case, which was a real case. Two rich kids deciding they wanted, and also very highly intelligent and secretly lovers, and they wanted to try and pull off the perfect crime. And it's loosely based on that, and the resulting fallout and the court case and everything after that. It's a really great movie.
Yeah, it's got Orson Welles in it. That's cool.
Yeah, Orson Welles, he plays their lawyer.
Yeah, I was pulling it up on him.
Dean Stockwell says Orson Welles is the only actor he ever met who he absolutely despised.
Wow.
Apparently Orson Welles was an absolute asshole.
That's what I hear about Orson Welles. I mean,
all that I can ever think of is The Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Because literally, the voice of the Brain is like a rip-off of Orson Welles.
Right.
Try to take over the world.
Yeah, this came out in 1959.
No, it's a really great movie. And there is a website we can watch it on. You don't have to pay or anything. It's like it might be the same website we watched The Bad Seed on, actually. Like the one that has like archives of all the movies. I can't quite remember, but it would be worth us watching and discussing at some point.
Maybe we could do a commentary on it. That'd be fun.
It would be fun. But I think if we're discussing Dean Stockwell movies, we might not have much else to say about Another Mother. You got any final thoughts, Michelle?
No, it was all right. I mean, like I said, it wasn't like high on my list of shows. There's too many kind of, not faux pas, but faux pas, I guess, for me to be like, oh, this is in my top 10 or whatever. But I can't say top 20 yet. I mean, I probably could, but
We've probably seen a little more than 20.
Yeah, we have, because like I said, this is episode 13, plus the 9 from the first season.
And the
Plus-
10 or so we watched out of order.
Yeah. So you've probably seen 30 episodes.
yeah, but it's still not in my favorite. But I mean, it was enjoyable. It's not like if it was on TV, I'd be like, oh, look, it's Quantum Leap. Oh, it's this episode. Okay, well, it's worth keeping on the TV at least. So
Nice.
for background.
Yeah. Look, I enjoy this one as well. I'd gladly watch this one if asked to.
Yeah.
I like it a lot better than the one that's coming, which is essentially a Mexican boy trying to pimp out his mum. But we'll discuss that when we get to it as well.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
As for Another Mother, always a lot of fun. Apparently, the part with the dinosaurs at the end was Deborah Pratt was just writing what Troyan was into at the time, and at the time it was dinosaurs. So
Well, when you're
kept her entertained for a little bit.
When you're
And apparently Troyan was just an absolute natural as well. She would just follow direction, didn't need a whole lot of direction. She could only work for very small periods of time as well,
Right.
but she'd be saying, why is that person standing in there doing my lines? Yeah. And also, I'm sure Deborah told us the story about Dean Stockwell really taking good care of Troyan as well and standing up for her and essentially telling off Deborah for bringing her, into the acting industry.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story before.
Yeah, saying, don't do it unless you need the money, let her have a childhood. And Deborah was talking about Troyan being friends with the Olsen twins and seeing what they had to go through and realizing just how right Dean was.
I also found it funny when she was like, what is sexual?
What's secular undercourse?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, it's a thing with adults do. Anyways,
It's
Al.
just a game that adults play.
Yeah, Sam's trying to change the subject. He's like, okay, Al.
They play leapfrog.
Speaking of conversations, I did like when Al was telling Sam, what we're here to do. And Teresa, then he's like, yeah, we're here to help Kevin win the swim meet. And after she leaves the room, he's like, okay, Al, what are we really here to do? He's like, he didn't fool me with that. He said, I didn't want to say it in front of the kid, but...
And I also like Al describing him and Sam as the two ends of the sexual spectrum and saying, well, if we're each end of the spectrum, then Kevin's got to be somewhere in the middle.
He's got to be normal. Yeah, and I did like, he's like, yeah, don't use your personal, whatever you got going on compared to this poor kid. He's like, well, and I also did like that now that Michelle's already watched it, when he was talking about when he was Kevin's age, he was saying, well, I wasn't.
What was the worst thing that happened to you when you were 15? Oh, when her parents worked in, when her parents walked in on us.
But no, and Sam was saying he was nerdy, but in shy, which we saw in The Leap Home.
A little bit, yeah. But he also must have had game because he was only 16 and he was pulling the seniors. So, yeah.
Well, the seniors wanted him, but he was too shy. See.
I guess so.
So I did like that reference.
Apparently Lisa didn't marry Sam, but she didn't marry No.
Voldemort. Still stuck on that. I really wanted the guy to have no nose.
But no, I did like the pre-reference. And then, like I say, 6 months later, whatever it was, we actually saw Sam at that age. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Oh.
Without meaning to.
Oh, yeah, that was confusing to me.
What?
Why they called the guy a wizard and...
Because they're D&D freaks, but they couldn't call it Dungeons and Dragons.
Why? Oh, because...
Copyright?
Yeah, but they didn't look like D&D nerds for the 80s. I'm
that's
sorry.
What we're saying. Did you know D&D nerds in the 80s?
Probably. They were just a lot older than me. And if they were anything like you, then yeah.
I knew D&D. And
I think Dungeon Master sounds a little bit too S&M for a primetime show like Quantum Leap anyway.
But I don't think they were too far off. But like me and Hayden were saying, they weren't attracting the girls.
Or they were attracted to the girls, weren't attracted to them.
No, they weren't attracting the girls.
Oh, see, yeah.
Oh, it might have been they weren't attracted to girls either. But
the ones I knew were. But anyways, that's the other story entirely.
But look, I think that, of the episodes where Sam does leap into a woman, Deborah Pratt wrote most of them. Obviously, she's probably the best one to do that, being able to write things from female perspectives. I don't know. I'm not a mother and I never will be. But maybe, Michelle, do you think Scott Bakula did a good job portraying a mother and that Deborah Pratt wrote a motherly role well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, go help your sister. Go find out if your sister's okay. Would you please just go deal with your sister? Like, every mom's said that, that has multiples. And, a mom's going to hunt down that truck and kick their asses, whether or not she's, a dainty little thing or not. I mean, or we'll die trying. Mama Bear comes out and there's, and especially when she barges into the house and she's like, "Where's my son?" And they're like, "I don't know. He left on his bike." And she's like, "Tell him I'm sorry." She's like, "You tell him you're sorry." Like.
But see, one thing I found unrealistic, living in California in the 80s, I don't see how they got all the stuff they were doing that day, because the kid had soccer game, the girl had this going on, they went out for dinner, and they were still home before the sun was down at the end of September. There's no way they could have got all that done in that short amount of time frame.
At 4 o'clock.
Actually, another reason that I like this episode, now I remember,
see?
The Volvo that, what was her name, Linda, the person Sam left into, the Volvo that she had, my mum had the exact same one, except Mum's was a station wagon. Mum's was a sedan. No, that's wrong. Mum had the station wagon and it was a sedan in the episode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, otherwise it was the same Volvo, and I could just imagine her getting so much, "You bloody Volvo driver."
Yeah, and I thought that was... Yeah, they're pulling up, the sun's still up, and, he had soccer game, and Susan had something, and they went out and had dinner, and I'm like, what? Yeah, and then in September, by 4 or 5 o'clock, it's getting dark, and you're not doing all that, and plus them going to school all day. Yeah, you're not doing all that and getting home before dark. You're going to come in, the streetlights are going to be on, and...
I thought for sure, like, they were going to say, like, she missed his game or something. Like, I was waiting for that.
I was also going to say, I think Sam probably should have been encouraging Kevin to speak to his father a bit more. But then again, I think they said that the father isn't involved at all.
Well, he left with a floozy or something like that.
Yeah, but you would think that he would still be in contact with the kids, though. But then again, maybe not.
Not really. I mean, not if they're angry with him for ditching the mom.
Well, maybe.
And that may be part of why they're so mad. Not only did he ditch their mom, but if he's an absent father, that would also explain the hostility and,
Yeah, fair enough. I just thought that in a situation like that, Kevin should have a male role model. I mean, it's nice that he's got Sam, but only for a few minutes.
Well, sadly, there's a lot of kids that have single mothers that don't have a male role or, figure in their lives, unfortunately.
Wish I had seen there. Oh. But anyways, enough of my life. Hayden, any other thoughts on Another Mother?
Yeah, only that it's a pretty good episode. I don't really have any issues with it apart from the tiny little misstep at the end, and it's one I'll go back to. I tend to skip the next one, but we'll talk more about that. I might even have to actually watch it to see if I can find anything in it that I actually do like.
So I don't dislike it as much as you seem to, but yeah, this next episode's one that's not on my hip. It's not. I'm like, I tell you what, I gotta watch this one again. All right, well, it's Quantum Leap, but we'll cover that next month. Michelle.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Another Mother?
Nope.
And for me, I think we've covered everything we need to cover on this episode.
Teresa, your mommy's coming back.
Mommy?
Yeah.
Can you stay?
No.
I don't want you to go.
I don't want to go. But I'm going to come back. I don't know when, but I'll come back.
Promise?
I promise.
Thank you for listening to the Starbright Project. Join us monthly as we continue leaping with Sam and Al. If you like the show, I recommend buying Quantum Leap on Blu-ray. You can also watch it on the NBC website or app. The only thing on this show that Michelle and I own are our thoughts and opinions. NBC Universal own the rights to Quantum Leap, and any songs that we use are owned by their respective owners. Any clips we use, we're using in good faith for the show. I know this doesn't excuse us legally, but we just want NBC to sue us. We're just big fans of the show and want to share that love with the world. For more podcasting goodness, check out the other shows on the Headcast Network. Head Speaks is released on the first Tuesday of the month, where I talk about comics, TV shows, movies, books, whatever I want, but it's usually geek-related. G.I. Joe, a Royal American Headcast, is normally out the second Tuesday of the month, where a rotating batch of guest hosts and I discuss the G.I. Joe comics and cartoons from the 80s. The third Thursday brings us Task Force X, where I talk about John Ostrander's Suicide Squad and Paul Kupperberg's Checkmate comics, both from the late 80s, early 90s. Finally, the fourth Tuesdays of the month, we have the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour, where I examine the Will Payton Starman comic and the Mark Shaw Manhunter comics, again, both from the late 80s. Then on Thursdays, I release my second batch of shows, where Michelle shows up on most of them. The first Thursday of the month, I'll be releasing the Star Bright Project, a Quantum Leap podcast, where Michelle and I look at the greatest time travel show in the late 80s and early 90s. Then the second Thursday of the month, look for Retrospect to the 80s. You guessed it, Michelle and myself take a time travel trip back to the greatest decade that was, well, in my opinion. The third Thursday, we'll maybe bring another show, Voyager's Cast, where Michelle, I, and some guests look at the best time travel show from the early 80s. And finally, on the fourth Thursday of the month, I have Bravo Team, where myself and possibly some guest hosts talk about anything G.I. Joe related, not covering the main G.I. Joe show. Also, if you like what I'm doing, please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/headcastnetwork. If you're enjoying my shows, throw a few bucks in the bin. It'd be most appreciated. But that'll do it for this episode. Join us next time to see where Sam ends up.
Oh boy.